Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and today I'm going to show you how to make what I call an envelope book. These are things that we used to make a long time ago, and I was hanging out with my friend Beverly, who owns Beeline Designs, and I thought, I need to show how to make one of these again. So here's what we've got. I've got two, what we call an A2 size envelope. They're in a Kraft color, and I went ahead and I printed from the digital download Daydreaming. These are the journal cards that come in a kit. They normally are 5x7, and I told my computer to print these as half the size, so basically two 5x7 images for the whole sheet, and it made it a lot smaller. I also have some gel prints, mixed media things here, and then I have some pages, and I'll show you the pages later because it's really more about the cover part of this. So to begin with, I've got a couple of envelopes, and what I did was I took a piece of cardstock that was 2 inches and the same height as the journal, and then approximately 3/4 of an inch in, I scored it. And then I flipped it around, and 3/4 of an inch in, I scored it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my distress ink, and I'm going to go around the edges of both the envelopes, this piece, and all the pieces that I plan to put on top. I went ahead and I cut a couple of my gel prints to be just slightly smaller, about 1/4 of an inch smaller, because I'm going to put this on a mat on the front of my journal covers, which are the envelopes. So I'm going to go ahead and distress ink those. And then I had a couple of scraps left over, so I'm just going to go ahead and add some distress ink to the edges of these. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I've got these little images from Calico Collage, the Daydreaming, and I'm going to center these on both of these pieces. I'm just going to glue them down for now because I do plan to go to the sewing machine. Now remember, if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't sew, you don't have to do the sewing, the stitches. You could use these shabby stitches stamp sets that I have in my shop. You could hand draw stitch lines. You could do without the stitch lines. You could even use maybe a black pen and make a really dark line all the way around. So, don't feel like you have to do that. That's just something that I enjoy doing, and I like to show it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my sewing machine in a moment. So I want to adhere down kind of in the center of this flap, and then I'm going to sew these elements together. All right, I think I've got these all ready so we can go to the sewing machine. All right, now that I'm over here at the sewing machine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch right around the edge of the card. I'm also going to stitch right around the outside edge, so it's going to get that look like it's been sewn to the envelope even though it hadn't. I'm just using a regular sewing machine, regular needle, zigzag stitch, regular thread. I tell everybody, look at your manual, find out what the settings are for the normal stitching settings, and leave it that way. Don't mess with them, and it'll work just fine. And now I'm just going to go around the outside edge. Well, it ate my paper just a little bit, so I'm going to fix that by pasting another piece on the back. I just happen to have a little scrap here, so I'm just going to paste a little piece right where it tore. So you can hardly even tell. It happens. Sometimes these book pages are a little bit thinner, and if you don't have multiple layers of paper, it can tear. Looks like I've got a thread hanging on. Get that off. Okay. So it doesn't look too bad. It's got a few hiccups here and there, but I think it looks pretty cute. On the envelope, I know I'm not going to really paste this shut, but I'm going to go ahead and sew around this to kind of give it a little decorative edge. So I'm going to repeat that on the other envelope and the other journal card. All right, so we got the pieces sewn, and we'll go back to the other camera. All right, I know that I'm going to want to bind this close, so I've got a piece of lace here. So I'm just going to kind of gauge how much I want to use. And I found that if you wrap it around whatever is going to be your cover of your journal and go ahead and tie it off the way that you want it to be, you can pretty much gauge how much lace or ribbon or string or whatever that you're going to use to tie your journal close. I'm just kind of messing with it here. I think about that amount will be good. And it's ivory lace. I like to buy white and ivory type products because I can change the color with Tattered Angel's Glimmer Mist. So let's get our spray box out and let's do that. All right, so I'm going to lay this in the box here, and I've got a couple of colors of Tattered Angels. These are from the Royal Peacock subscription box and the paint kit add-on. So I'm just going to shake these up. You want to make sure that you shake them really well because they have mica in the bottom, and you want that mica to be up in the liquid when you go to spray. So I'm going to start with some purple, and then I'm going to spray the pink. And then I'm going to go in here and spray this kind of a teal color. All right, and the next thing I'm going to do is use my heat tool to dry it. You want to be careful, especially if you're dealing with a nylon type lace, because it could burn or melt. So you just want to be really careful and let it dry. You can also let it air dry, probably take it 30 minutes or so. But I'm in a hurry, so I want it to speed up the process just a little. Okay, that's pretty much dry. I think it's ready to be used. Okay, so as I said earlier, I've made this piece. It's going to be the spine to hold our envelopes together. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some glue right along here and then adhere it to the envelope. So where's my glue? There it is. So I'm just going to put some glue right on this piece, and then I'm going to line it up with the envelope right along the edge there. And then I'm going to make sure that when I do the back, because I want the envelopes to open, that I line it up and it's not upside down, because I've done that. So I'm just going to put glue on this side. All right, so now I know that I want this to be my tie, so I'm going to kind of smooth it out on both sides, get it pretty much even. And I found just to get it out of the way, it's just so much easier to go ahead and just tie it into a bow. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't twist on me. All right, so now I know that that's pretty much where I want it. I'm going to take one of my pieces. Which one do I want for the cover? I think I want that one for the cover. So I'm just going to adhere this straight down on top for the cover on the front. I'm just using Aleene's Tacky Glue. And remember, you know, when I show you these techniques, the whole idea is for you to springboard your imagination and be inspired to create. You know, I'm using some gel prints. I've had a lot of people ask me, what do you do with your gel prints? Well, this is one of them. You can use it to mat some digital images so that you can use them in a junk journal. And this is just a little journal. All right, I think I got the front piece, so now we're going to repeat the process for the back with the other image. All right, so I'm going to untie this, so that should hold the lace in place now. Just kind of pressing it out. Make sure it's all adhered down all the way. So here's our cover so far, okay? I've got a little template here that I've made, and so all I'm doing is just lining it up to the center of my journal here. And it's got 3 little holes. I'm going to do a pamphlet stitch. So I'm just going to poke holes in what's going to be the spine portion. And then let me show you the pages that I have here. So here's what I did is I took some of my mop-up pages, and if y'all don't know what that is, that means when I spray something with Tattered Angels through a stencil, then I take another piece of paper and lay it on top, and it'll mop up the Tattered Angels that's on top. So that's what this piece here is where I've mopped up. And then I took one of the Calico Collage journal pages and I told my printer to print it as a 5x7 image. So this would normally be together as one piece, and I cut them in half and I made a little mat onto the journal page. Then I used some of the Beeline Designs. This is Garden Friends, so that's one page. And then here's another mop-up page, and I used the Journal Quartet and the Small Butterfly. There it is again. This was a piece of paper that someone gave me. It's some kind of parchment paper that they coffee dyed, and I thought it was just kind of interesting, so I put that in there. Then I've got part of a sheet of music, and I just cut that. There's another one that I stenciled and stamped. This is like a ledger paper. Another one of the stencils. This is from the Daydreaming kit. This one is called Spinning Flowers. And again, here's another with the Calico Collage Daydreaming. And stamped and stenciled. Another ledger page. Another stenciled. And then this was a mixed media page where I just took a little bit of acrylic paint and scraped it across. And then this side is where I had a journal card in the middle, and I painted both the piece of paper and the journal card at the same time, and I had this little void, so I just pasted another little journal card or cards on top, and there's a little opening here, so they could be a little hidden tuck spot. So now what I'm going to do is take all of these pieces and get them all lined up to where they're in the center. Since I have different sizes of paper, it's important to get them all lined up so they're not wonky, if you will. Then I'm just going to use my big paper clips. You can use binder clips, something just to hold the pages together so they don't shift on you. Then I'm going to take the same template that I used earlier, and I'm going to V up my pages. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz Tonic Studios Craft Pick to poke holes down through all the pages. I don't need this anymore, and I don't need the awl anymore, so we'll put that away. And then I've got some wax linen thread. I try to get about 3 times the length or height of my journal, and I'm going to line up my cover going through the center hole to the center hole of the cover. Make sure this is out of the way. And then I'm going to come back up through the top hole, through the cover and the pages on the inside. And then I'm going to hold my tail out of the way. And this is called a pamphlet stitch. I'm going to go back through the center, and if holding this out of the way like this, pulling it tight, keeps your needle from going through it and splitting the thread, which can make it difficult to get the binding tight if you split the thread with your needle. And then we'll go back through this hole. All right, so then I'm going to take the needle and slip under the first and pull it down. And then I'm going to pull these in opposite directions, and I want to make sure that it's tight on the outside as well as the inside. And then I'll tie this in a little knot, surgeon's knot or a double knot as they call it. You can choose to leave these long. I'm going to trim them just a little bit. Maybe whoever ends up with this will want to put something on there to add their own personal touch. And then we can take this cover and tie it shut. And look at there, we have a super cute little journal made with some envelopes and some miscellaneous papers, some mixed media papers, some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, doing a little bit of sewing, using the Daydreaming digital download from Calico Collage. I hope you liked this little tutorial, that you're inspired to grab some of your supplies and create something. If you've never created a journal before, this is a perfect one. It's a little small. You can put it in your purse if you're a female. If you're a man, you could probably put it in your back pocket if you chose something a little bit more masculine, if you like. And you have a space to write some notes. And because it has the envelopes in it, you can add things in here that you maybe want to remember, some receipts or something like that. You can even add more decoration on the inside if you want as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure that you check the description box for links for the products that I use. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Share this video if it inspired you so that it will inspire others. If you haven't subscribed or followed me, please do so. I'm working on YouTube. We're really close to 10,000 subscribers there, and I'll have some awesome giveaways. All right, everybody, have a fabulous day, and thanks for watching. Love you lots. Bye.